In my opinion, frog fishing is some of the best bass fishing that you can do because you get to watch them just explode on your lure. But it can be really frustrating if you don't know which one to throw, what color to throw, or how to even throw it. Thankfully, I'm here to break it down for you a little bit. My name is Wesley Littlefield with YourBassGuide.com, and let's learn a little bit about frogs today. If you want to catch more bass using these frogs, then stay tuned. First off, there are several different types of frogs. You've got a popping frog, which has like a blunt nose and it's gonna make a popping sound when you reel it back, and you really don't reel a frog, you actually pop it back. And then you've got like a pointed nose frog, and this doesn't make as much racket, as much commotion. It's a little bit more stealthy. And then I've got a cheap old frog that I've honestly never caught a fish off of, and I wouldn't recommend. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a frog. But I've also got these frogs, and they're a soft plastic frog. I love using these as a topwater. You rig them up like Texas rig, weightless, and just buzz it across there, across the water, across wherever you think they're at. And that's a lot of fun. It's a little bit different kind of frog. I've even used them as trailers, like on a buzz bait, or I've never really done it on a jig, but I bet it would work on like a swim jig. But that's a soft plastic frog, a little bit different frog than what we're talking about today, but that's the different types of frogs. Now, for color selection, let's just keep it really simple. I prefer black 90% of the time. And this is one reason, and one reason only, is because when the fish is looking up at it, the sun is already up above it, so it's going to be silhouetted. So more than likely, that bait is going to appear black anyways. So already being black, it just helps it stand out a little bit more. I'm not saying that other colors don't work, because obviously I use other colors. This is actually one of my favorites to use, and it's a natural looking frog color. And here's another kind of leopard frog color, and even white on some occasions. But like I said, most of the time I'm gonna go with black just because of the silhouette. What frog I'm throwing and what color also depends on where I'm throwing it at. The great thing about these hollow body frogs, and just about any major brand that produces a hollow body frog, it's going to be designed to throw in the thickest, nastiest cover. We're talking like in the middle of lily pads, even up along laydowns, everything that could potentially get snagged, like with a treble hook or something. If you were to throw a topwater popper in there, a frog is the best option, simply because the way the hooks are designed, the body protects them from getting hung up until that bass bites down on it and then gets hooked. Where to fish them? You can fish them too in open water. A lot of times like a popping frog will be best for that, because even a popping frog will kind of get hung up sometimes on a stick or on a lily pad or grass. So a little bit more open water most of the time for a popping frog. And then in the thickest, nastiest stuff, get your pointed nose frog, and it'll come right through it, and you will catch a lot more fish using just these two in thick, nasty cover and a little bit of open water for here. Now when I'm talking open water, I'm still talking along the edges of a laydown, or up on like a flat, or even the side of riprap or rock. I'll still throw this and pop it. And when I mean pop it, we'll talk a little bit about that, how to fish it, just a little bit. And so that's where to fish it. These things are deadly in the thickest, nastiest cover. Now let's break down real quick how to fish them. You're not just going to cast and reel it back in. These are really designed to cast out and pop it. And when I'm saying cast, reel, jerk, 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 let it set there for a second, reel up the slack a little bit, jerk it again, reel up the slack a little bit, jerk it again. And I fish them very similar most of the time. Now with a popping frog, I find that they walk better, meaning that it will almost set there and go side to side much better than this one, the pointed nose frog. simply because I guess just the way the water hits in the popper that it won't allow it to just come through the water straight at you. It causes it to turn, and that looks incredibly enticing for bass. It looks more like an injured bait fish than an actual frog, but bass cannot resist it. Where this one, you pop it a little bit and it just looks like a frog sitting there in the water, and bass will come and inhale this one as well. That's how to fish it. Now let's figure out which one is best. I already told you, I don't think I've ever caught a fish on this one. I don't recommend buying a cheap frog like this. It's a waste of money in my opinion. If you're looking for a brand, Spro makes a really good one. I'm honestly not sure can't think of what brand these two are, but any major brand like Spro, Booyah, I believe makes popping frogs. Strike King makes popping frogs, or any kind of hollow body frog. And I believe that these two are equally as good, but if I had to choose just one, I'd go with the popping frog. I think the popping frog's the best. Now, for when frog fishing gets actually tough, you'll find that happens a lot. I recommend going with a wacky rig. And if you don't know how to rig it, I've got a video right here that will show you how to rig it, how to fish it. It's one of my favorite ways to catch fish. Of course, I like any way that's gonna catch fish, but a wacky rig, there's just something about it that is a lot better for fishing, slowing down, and a very finesse presentation. So if that interests you, check out this video. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like. And remember that education is important, but fishing is essential.